Alright, so today I would like to review the Walther PPS M2 chambered in 9mm. It's a small single stack handgun. Single stack meaning the rounds are all in a vertical line in the magazine rather than staggered. That I carry. I've had this gun for over a year now, and it's been really nice, so I thought I would review it. To start off with, the Walther comes in a carrying case. It's a relatively good plastic case. There's some firearms that come in a cardboard box, and if you want to store them at home, you've got to get a separate case for them. This gun, though, the case that it comes in doubles really well as a storage case, and so you got something to consider that you don't have to buy a new, different case for it. To open it up, you just slide these latches to the side, and it should open right up. We've got the lock, the Waffenschloss. Walther's a German company, and firearms are made in Germany. There's also a little chamber flag made by Walther that you would insert into the chamber to show that the chamber is empty. It comes with two separate magazines. One's in the gun currently. They're a 6-round magazine and a 7-round magazine, respectively. The 6-rounder is a little bit shorter, and the 7-rounder is a little longer. Let's go ahead and clear the firearm. Okay, so the magazine is empty, and the chamber is also empty as well. Okay, so now that that's safe, this 7-round magazine, when you put it into the gun, it allows you to get a full grip on the firearm. It's not as hand-filling as, say, a double stack would be, but it's still a really comfortable, manageable grip. The only controls on the gun externally, there is a safety on the trigger, but there's no external manual safety. The only controls on the gun are the mag release, which is a button on the M2 right behind the trigger. On the M1 or the Classic, it would be a little paddle on the trigger guard, and it would be ambidextrous. It would be on both sides. But on the M2, it's got the more traditional button magazine release. The other control on the firearm is the slide release. So on the last round in a magazine, when the magazine's empty, the slide will lock back. To release the slide, after you've swapped magazines and put a fresh one in, just push down on the slide release, and the slide will bring a new round forward into battery. You can also, if the magazine were full, if you had a new magazine, you could just pull back on the slide and it would bring the slide forwards as well. So those are the main controls on the gun. If we put the shorter magazine in, the 6-rounder, you'll notice that the my pinky no longer has a place to be on the grip. I've shot the gun this way, and it is still manageable. It's not quite as comfortable to shoot, but there's nothing really wrong with shooting it this way. I can still operate it just fine. I have never carried it with the 6-round magazine. I've never felt that I would need to. I typically carry this gun in an inside the waistband holster, which I'll have a review on later. But when I'm carrying it that way, I've never really needed anything shorter than the 7-rounder. And because it lets me have that spot for my pinky and makes it a little more controllable, it's a little more comfortable to shoot, I always just carry it that way. If I wanted to, I could carry it with the 6-rounder, but I've never found that the concealability was hampered by the 7-rounder. Now, this gun is a little large for something like a pocket pistol. It's really not a pocket pistol. And regardless of which magazine you put into it, it's just not going to fit in your pocket. Unless you're like trying to put it in a cargo pocket or something. But it doesn't quite fit inside of a pair of jeans. It's just a little bit large for that, but it does fit very nicely inside of the waistband. When I started carrying this, I didn't have to resize my pants or anything like that. Just wore the same size pants that I always have, and have to move my belt out just a shade in terms of which hole I latch it at. But it's not overly large to the point of changing my pant sizing or anything. So that's a nice feature as well. In terms of takedown, let me go ahead and move this box to the side. Gun takes down very nicely, and there is one part of the takedown that some people aren't too crazy about, and I'll show you that in just a second. But it does take down very easily and in a fashion very similar to a Glock. So let's just walk through that. It's very important that when we're taking it down, we make sure that the gun is unloaded. So the magazine well is empty. Let me visually inspect. There's nothing in the chamber. And I'll just check physically as well. There's nothing in the chamber. Okay. And the reason that it's really important to check that the gun is clear before you disassemble it is that the first step to disassembly after ensuring it's clear is to pull the trigger. Some people aren't crazy about this. There's probably guns that you can get that don't require this. Glocks require this, though. Other guns, I'm sure, require you to pull the trigger during takedown. So you do have to pull the trigger. So just make sure the gun's clear before you take it apart, and that shouldn't be an issue. So we'll point it in a safe direction and pull the trigger. Okay. So now that the trigger has been pulled, you can tell that the trigger is back. It's been pulled. We're going to pull down on these latches on either side. There's one on each side of the gun right there. Let's see if we can focus. Yeah, one latch right there. One latch right there. So we're just going to push down on those. And when we do that, the slide will just come forwards off of the frame. We have the guide rod, and the barrel just comes right out, like so. And it is disassembled. This is as far as you have to take it down for cleaning. I haven't cleaned this gun since the last time I fired it, so there's a little bit of stuff on it. One thing to talk about, too, is that some people have said that their chamber on their PPS has some peening that occurs after firing a couple of hundred rounds through it. So I wanted to just look at that briefly. I've put several hundred rounds through this gun and don't have any marring around the chamber. There are some people, though, that have said that right here at the edge of the chamber, let's see if we can't focus a little better there. Right here on the edge of the chamber, that they have some sorts of marring or kind of peening out of the side of the chamber there. Walther has told them, from what I understand, that that's normal, and some people aren't overly fond of that. I don't really have that issue with this gun. There's a part of it that's been machined out here, a little bit of a notch that's been machined out right here at the edge, but there's no undue wear to the chamber of this particular gun. So it seems to be kind of an issue that some people have and that other people do not. Reassembling the gun is very easy. We just put the barrel back into the slide, put our guide rod back into our slide as well, and then just run the slide back onto the frame. Let me zoom back out here. So guide rod onto the slide, and then slide back onto the frame. Bring it back, rack it, it's ready to go. So reassembling it is very, very simple as well. You know, if you've had a gun that's not quite this easy to take down, it's It's actually really, really nice. When I first got it, I took it apart several times, just kind of marveling at how simple the takedown was. So it's just a really nice gun to take apart as well. Firing it is quite nice. It's very manageable. I can be as accurate as I would expect to be with a gun this size. The recoil is not bad at all. The trigger on this gun is phenomenal. I tried out a whole bunch of different guns before I bought this one, and one of the things that really sold me on this gun was the trigger. It's very crisp. Let me just check. Yep, we're empty. We're empty. Pull it again here. Look at it this way. Here we go. So there's a little bit of take up on it. And then it squeezes just a little more. It breaks cleanly. It's a very nice trigger. It's not overly heavy. It's just all around a very smooth action. So can't talk enough about the trigger on this gun. Carrying it has been wonderful. I'm not looking for another carry gun. I do have a smaller pocket gun that I carry that I'll have a review on later as well. But this gun, in terms of something to carry inside of my waistband all day, that I can just put on and not have to worry about until I get back home, this really does fit the bill for that. And I like it a lot for that particular niche. It just does a really good job. So that is the Walther PPS M2 and chambered in 9mm. Thanks for watching.